Prime Minister Modi to hold video conference with all state chief ministers tomorrow. PM Modi to hear plan of every state's lockdown exit strategy. Karnataka government preparing to submit their report tomorrow. State NCOV expert committee recommends lockdown till April end. If a statewide ban is not, hotspots should be sealed off. Government state government to remain firm on not reopening state borders. Chief Minister B.S. Yediyurappa along with Basuraj Bommai, Boya Sri Ramulu, Dr. K. Sudhakar, Chief Secretary Vijay Bhaskar, DG IGP Praveen Sood and other officials also to take part in the meeting. For more details on this, I am being joined in by my colleague Amruta live from the newsroom. So Amruta, now tomorrow the Prime Minister is set to hold a video conference with all the chief ministers from all the states. So what more details do you have on this particular meeting tomorrow?
Absolutely, Deepak. The Prime Minister is going to be holding video conferencing with all the chief ministers of the states in India, and they will be, discussing all of the situation of COVID-19 pertaining to every single state, what is the latest updates, and especially with regards to April 14th, which is the end of the lockdown period, and whether, the states need to extend the lockdown beyond that period of time is the mounting question now. That will be the sole topic that will be discussed in tomorrow's meeting. Even the Karnataka Chief Minister B.S. Yediyurappa will be present in that particular meeting, and he'll be briefing the Prime Minister about whatever is happening in Karnataka. And the first and foremost thing that Karnataka government has with it right now is the report that has been submitted by the task force committee, which is headed by several experts and doctors in the field from Karnataka itself, like Dr. Devi Shetty. So what this particular report has, in a brief concluded part states is that, some of the areas where there are more than 9 number of COVID-19 cases being detected or reported, and a certain percentage of people under home isolation or under quarantine suspected to have, COVID-19, all of that will be taken into consideration, and those particular areas called as hotspots should remain under lockdown, even if the entire state is not remaining under lockdown. So that is one particular recommendation that has been made by this particular task force, and that report will also be put forth before the Prime Minister to take a decision on whether the lockdown should be extended in the state of Karnataka or not, and how it pertains to the entire country, also what it means for the entire country. Now already we've had Odisha and Punjab announcing that they will be extending their lockdown at least by a few days time, because there the situation they have a certain, what the state governments have a certain need the lockdown to be extended to bring the entire COVID-19 spread under control. So Karnataka government has so far refrained from making any such unilateral decision, and it has left the decision up to the central government, and now the center has to decide whether here in the state of Karnataka the lockdown should continue or not. Some of the recommendations that has been made by the task force also state that the schools and colleges do remain closed until at least May, and that the transportation within some areas also are under our control. Only some transportation should be allowed, like private vehicles only, and that too for essential purposes itself should continue. And with regards to the workforce, the private sector, if we are talking about, according to the recommendation made by the task force, it states that the private sector should only work with 50% of its workforce, and that too in a weekly shift, which should be rotating. So these are some of the recommendations that has been made by the task force in Karnataka. A similar one was made by Kerala as well. The Kerala also came up with a lockdown strategy withdrawal plan of its own, which it has already submitted before the center for consideration. So all of these issues will be taken into consideration, and then a call will be taken on whether the lockdown should be extended or not. One more important thing is that Karnataka is kind of unwilling to open up its state borders for other states as well. famously speaking, Karnataka and Kerala have been having this stiff about the border reopening, and right now Karnataka government has relented to allow only medical emergency cases to come into the state of Karnataka and then move out of Karnataka itself. So all of these issues will be taken into consideration, and all of this report will be submitted before the central government for it to take a decision on whether the country and the state itself needs a lockdown extension or not. One more thing to be considered over here is the economy too.